Good morning. Welcome back into Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty. The 2024 race for the White House is heating up heading into the hot summer months. 15 candidates now running on the GOP side, with more expected to jump in. Joining us now for more is one of those candidates, Miami Mayor Francis Suarez. Mr. Mayor, great to have you back on. Good morning.
Rob, it's great to be with you.
Your announcement really came out of the blue to a lot of Republicans. I think people expected Ron DeSantis to run. They expected Trump to run. You were a surprise. Why do you want to be president?
You know, I took my time. I wanted to make sure that it was the right decision. And the reason why I'm running for president is because I feel like I'm uniquely qualified to take on the major challenges that are facing this country at this given moment. The first, of course, is runaway inflation and cost of living, which is making the poor poorer in this country. If you have your money in a bank account, you're losing purchasing power, and then you're getting killed on the other side because interest rates are going up. We have to balance our budget. I'm the only candidate in the race that has actually balanced the budget with a 20% deficit, which is exactly what we have in our federal budget right now. You know, the courage that it takes to balance the budget doesn't depend on the number of zeros that you have. The second major issue is, of course, immigration. As a Hispanic Republican president, I think I would be in a unique position to be able to deal with that issue, sort of demystify it for Republicans. And, you know, I think also we can grow the party. Democrats have been completely negligent in the way they've communicated to Hispanics. They called them Latinx. They said that they're as unique as San Antonio tacos. That doesn't resonate. And there's a great opportunity for Republicans. And I think last, we have to create the kind of dynamic economy to confront China as not only a national security threat that it's becoming, but also an economic threat that it's continuing to be.
Mr. Mayor, a lot of your critics say that you're going to struggle with name recognition, name ID. A lot of people outside Florida just don't know who you are. They also say that you might be after higher office in Florida down the road. Like if DeSantis were to win in 2024, you'd be first in line to run for a governor. That's just an example. How do you respond to that?
The way I would respond is just to say, look, running for president is the most difficult gauntlet a human being can put themselves through. You don't do it to run for second place. You don't do it to run for another office or to parlay it into another position. You do it because you have a deep-seated desire. And the reason why I'm doing it is because I have a deep-seated desire to serve this country, because I feel I'm uniquely qualified in this moment to do it. And to be honest, because I feel compelled at some level. I feel that my voice to attract young voters, to get voters from cities that have been going blue for decades. And like I said, to bring more Hispanics into the Republican Party and solve generational problems is a winning formula. I believe that the more people get to know me, the more they're going to like me, the more they're going to like what I have to say, and the more they're going to like the economic policies that I've instituted in Miami that can be scaled to create national prosperity.
Yeah, a lot of people do run to sort of increase their national name recognition. Look at Pete Buttigieg. Mayor of South Bend, Indiana. Nobody knew who he was when he ran. Now he's Secretary of Transportation. So people have done that in the past. Some polling came out on Monday, NBC News poll. You didn't rate in this poll, but you just announced that you're running for president a little over a week ago. But right now you're 51 points behind Trump, 31 behind Ron DeSantis. Those are the other two candidates running from Florida. How do you make up that ground?
Well, it starts at the August 23rd debate. You know, you have to, from here to there, meet that criteria, which is 40,000 unique contributions, 220 states, and be at least at 1%. We think we're going to meet that criteria between now and August 23rd. And we think we're going to have millions of people hear our message of prosperity, hear a unifying message, and hear a track record of someone who's cut expenses, cut taxes, has run a city that is #1 in wage growth, has the lowest unemployment in America, and #1 in tech job growth. That combination of attributes is what's going to kickstart this country. When I became a public official for the first time, it was a complete turnaround job. Right now, we need someone who understands how to turn around this country and get it going in the right direction so that we can deal with the economic issues that we have at this given moment. No one else can do that.
Mr. Mayor, two more questions. We've got about a minute left. You've been hit pretty hard this week after your radio interview with Hugh Hewitt, where you said this. Let's listen.
An ultimate question, Mayor. Will you be talking about the Uyghurs in your campaign?
What, the what?
The Uyghurs.
What's a Uyghur?
Okay, we'll come back to that. You won't be. You got to get smart on that.
And you gave me homework, Hugh. I'll look at what did you call it, a Weeble?
The Uyghurs. You really need to know about the Uyghurs, Mayor. You got to talk about it every day.
I will talk about. I will search Uyghurs. I'm a good learner. I'm a fast learner.
All right, so you're getting hit pretty hard for the response there. You tried to clean it up on Twitter this week. There are over 1 million Uyghur Muslims living in camps in China right now, forced labor camps. How does the mayor of Miami convince the American people that you are ready to take on the many foreign policy challenges that await whoever wins this race in 2025?
Well, I would say to the American people that I've probably met more foreign leaders than a vast majority of the candidates, and have a much better foreign policy knowledge and understanding as the mayor of a major, international city than most of the candidates do. In terms of the Hugh Hewitt interview, I've always heard it as pronounced Uyghur. I actually gave the keys to the city to Enos Cantor Freedom, who has been a human rights activist championing their cause, particularly against the NBA that has turned a blind eye to the repression of that Muslim minority in China. So I was very familiar with the issue. It would have been similar if I would have asked you, who are the Damas de Blanco?
Well, it is pronounced Uyghur. It does begin with a U, but it's pronounced Uyghur. That's the most common pronunciation.
I think it has multiple spellings and pronunciations.
Yeah, but the most common is Uyghur, and it does begin with a U. I haven't heard anybody call it Uyghur before, but we can move on from there.
That's the Turkish pronunciation. Yeah.
Okay, but the pronunciation here in the States is Uyghur, but it does start with a U, so I understand that. Okay, just final question, and I don't want you to pull any punches here. You've known him for a long time. You're the same age. You're from the same state. What's your unvarnished view of Ron DeSantis? In about 20 seconds, is he fit to be president?
My unvarnished view is that he needs to, he doesn't have the personality from my perspective to bring people together, to build relationships. I can tell you that I've done a lot more for him than he's done for me in my career. So he just hasn't built relationships. And I think, he has to focus on economics and a little less on divisive topics. That would be what I would focus on.
Not fit to be president, sir?
I'll let the people decide that. That's their decision.
Okay. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez, we appreciate you being with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much.